Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, blending families, raising children. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which 3D is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment. And for those of you who continue giving on the QR code or on the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank you all for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to remind all of our listeners and viewers, we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, we are RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. If you go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio, the drop box will appear. Click on the New Life link. Every broadcast will be available to you. We are making some transitions in our daily broadcast, so you'll be able to continue going to Facebook and to YouTube at Daily Divine Direction at YouTube, where all of the broadcasts are archived in perpetuity. And also, we want you to stay connected with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. You can reach us at WKAPfaith.com, and we're going to be expanding some of our programming, so just continue to stay tuned. There's a lot going on. There's so much going on that today is one of those days where I just have to say to everyone, there is a lot going on. There are a lot of moving parts, and I am just thankful to God that we're able to be connected with you as we continue to move forward and do what God has called us to do. It's going to be an exciting time, so stay tuned, stay connected with us through WKAPfaith.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband has become ill and your children are so self-consumed that even when you told them what's going on with your husband, with their father, that he was ill, their only response was, he will be all right. You want to know, how did you raise such selfish and self-consumed children? So, listen, we're all guilty of that. You're a baby boomer also. We're all, every baby boomer, let me rephrase that. Most baby boomers who are responsible parents have made that same error in making everything about our children. Now, the reason I say that's an error is because we create a generation that is so self-consumed that they don't care about anything else. Most of us are guilty of that because we came from an era where there was none of that. It was never about us. It was really, and there's exceptions to the rule, but it was mostly about keeping us clothed, fed, and sheltered. That was enough about us as far as anyone else was concerned. And that's because it was a different time in which we lived. We then had so much opportunity. We got educated, we began our careers, we had success in our careers, and so we wanted our children to have a better life. All of us who are responsible parents have done that. We've done our very best to do that. What's happened is that your children are living their own lives. You've still continued to make it about them as adults. And so consequently, you expected when their father became ill that they would, because you poured so much into them, that they would take the time out to check in on him. Now, your husband hasn't made a big deal about it because that's what we do as men. We don't make a big deal. Exceptions to the rule, there are exceptions. But most of us are not going to make a big deal about being ill. What we're going to do is talk to our physicians, whoever they may be, whatever categories they may fit in, whatever specializations they may fit in. We're going to find out what we can do to address the issue. We may do some additional research and find some additional alternative methods to do the best we can to restore ourselves. We don't have any, most men, we don't have any expectations of our children to take care of us. So consequently, your husband hasn't made a big deal about it. He hasn't even really said anything to them about it. But you told them. So you expected them to respond. Their response was, he'll be okay. He'll be all right. They say that because they believe that. They also say it because they don't know how to deal with it. They're not equipped to deal with it. And they don't want to allow their emotions to take over. So consequently, they withdraw, and the response was, he'll be all right. The problem isn't just that they're self-consumed and selfish. The problem is that you are going to have to teach your children what your expectations are of them. And what that means is, if it's going to cause you to have a spirit that is not at peace, you need to tell them. And then if they don't respond, you need to teach them how to treat you. And what that means is, just as they've gone on with their lives, you've got to go on with your life. See, it's great. We want our children to be a part of our lives, but it doesn't always work out that way. You know, they only want you when they need you. They want to go on with their lives. You've got to go on with your life. And this is what I want to say to all of us who are baby boomers who are tuned in today. And those of you that are not baby boomers, that are of a different generation tuned in, and I know there's literally thousands of you that are doing that. Here's the reality. Who are tuned in today, here's the reality. You should take out more time to enjoy your parents, because as baby boomers, we're not going to be here always. Now, having said that, for all of us who are baby boomers, we really have to change our expectation of our children. And what I mean by that is we just have to simply decide, they're going to live their lives, I'm going to live my life. You can't live your life through your children. You can't live your life focusing on your children now that they're adults. We really have to for lack of a better term, take back our lives. When we've done our job, and our children are adults, high functioning adults who are successful in their careers, they have a good quality of life. Now it's their job to build a great quality of life, but they have a good quality of life because you've given them everything they could possibly need to become successful. Now it's their job to maximize their success. It's their job to find their way into the fullness of God. That's their job. Your job now is to turn them over to the Lord. Should have already done that, but turn them over to the Lord and go on and live your life. You have a life also. That life is you and your husband. You know, all sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God. Your husband will recover from his illness and life will go on. What you have to do now is live your life. Because one of the things you're going to find out, and this is for all of us who are baby boomers, one of the things we're going to find out is that our children are going to live their own lives. And they're not going to include us in everything. They're just not. And the reason is because it's not important to them to include us in their lives. There's exceptions to every rule, once again. But for many of the millennials, the generations behind us, we have to come to terms with the fact that they're not going to be focused on including us in their lives. They're going to live life the way that their peers are living life. They're going to live life the way that they feel is going to give them the most joy and the most pleasure. Not, I'm going to spend time with my parents because I feel an obligation to them. They're never going to feel that. At the end of the day, we've all done our job. If our children are adults, high functioning, high performing adults who have a good quality of life, we've done our job. We have all done our jobs. And so now it's time to return to living your own life and enjoy the life that God has given to you also. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching your credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have been extremely productive this year. However, you feel it is time to take a break and reward yourself. You want to know, how can you do that without getting off course? Well, here's the problem with that. You've been extremely productive, and this is going to take me into the next communication, but because I saw a theme forming, so we pulled these two communications back to back. The great thing is you have had a good year. You've had a really good year. You've been extremely productive. That's a positive. What makes you feel it's time to take a break and reward yourself? Listen, I love horses, and I'm not a gambler, but I like to watch horse racing. And The Derby, the Kentucky Derby, for example, is a race that is well known. You'll never see a horse. There's exceptions to every rule. But you'll never see a horse come out of the gate, begin to run the race. And unless an injury occurs, he's going to run that race. He's going to run all the way to the end, even if he's in last place. You got to finish the race. You know, we are still wrapping up the third quarter. We haven't even begun the fourth quarter yet. You still have 3 more months of the year to maximize your productivity. You've had a successful year, but you still have over 3 months to maximize your success for this year. Go back. You can take a pause long enough to go back and review what you've accomplished. And of everything you've accomplished this year, how can you expand on that for the remainder of this year? You know, why would you stop and take a break, reward yourself, become complacent, really lack energy going into the fourth quarter because you've been so productive this year? Anytime, and this is for all of our listeners and viewers, we all have a race to run. And at the start of every year, we have a race to run until December 31st. That's the finish line of the year. Not life, but the year. So if you know that there's a finish line and it's December 31st, why would you take a break and reward yourself now? You know, I use the analogy of horse racing because one thing I know is if a horse begins to run, now there are exceptions, you know, sometimes a horse has a problem in the gate and gets scratched, but once the horse takes off out of the gate and starts running that race, he's going to run that race until it finishes, unless he's injured. I'm not comparing, I'm not saying we're horses, but what I'm saying is when you started the new year, what's really interesting is most people get January 1st off. And if it falls on a weekend, then like I believe it does this year, if it falls on a weekend, then you usually get the Monday off. The problem with that is that we start the year thinking that we start the year with a break. So if we are productive and accomplish a lot during the year, we think that towards the end of the year we should take a break also. There should be enough purpose in our lives that when everyone else shuts down on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, that we should still be able to get something accomplished. You know, we should have enough components going on in our lives that we should still be able to get something accomplished. So I'm going to use a real example, real-time example, so just so that everyone gets some clarity on this. New Year's Eve this year is on a Saturday. Sunday is January 1. And most people are going to have off on Monday for the holiday, that Monday. I can tell you, I won't, well, I shouldn't say I won't because I'm not sure right at the moment. It's possible that I won't be doing a lot of things because banks will be closed, financial firms will be closed, wealth managers will be off, things to that effect. But I can tell you right now, I'm going to be loading music on our radio station, I'll be downloading music for our radio station, and uploading music on our radio station because everything else will be closed. So I'm going to use the time effectively and efficiently to get started on the new year. Whether I have to input ads or whether I have to do, station IDs, whatever the case may be, I'm going to be doing some type of work. And I can tell you, my wife will be doing some kind of work. Because we understand to start off the new year working will keep you in the momentum of making the year productive, getting our work done, and ending the year strong. You've got to want to end this quarter strong. You got to want to end this year strong. Don't take a break and think that this is the time to do that. Just keep running your race. You say you want to reward yourself. Well, you can go out to dinner one evening to a restaurant that you always wanted to try, but you just had not gotten around to trying it. That doesn't mean you have to stop working. And that's what you implied in your communication, is that you want to take a break and reward yourself. You want to take a break and take a trip and go someplace, when in reality, you really should keep working. You really should focus on finishing this year strong. We still have a little over another quarter of this year. We want to finish this year strong. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So, if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt attire today. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And if you order from Charles Tyrwhitt today, you will receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts. If you order shirts today, you will receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99. The code word is Jacob. 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99 at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company is also our sponsor for this segment. If you are in the market for home goods, clothing for men, women, and children, go to thewhitecompany.com. They're located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything you could possibly need. Clothing for men, women, and children, and home goods that will allow you to make your home everything that you desire it to be at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you had been really stressed about how this quarter would end, and you said, however, now you find yourself with all your work updated and 7 business days remaining in this quarter, and you want to know, should you take time off during these last 7 business days? The answer to that is no. Listen, the good news is you've got these 7 business days remaining. There are a couple of things that you can do with those, and I'm going to tell you what they are. So first of all, the very first thing you want to do is go back and review what you've already done for the quarter. Find out if there's any way that you can enhance what you've already done, or that you can begin the process of getting ahead for the last quarter of the year, for Q4. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is don't make an announcement to everyone that your work is updated. Don't make that announcement, because people will then begin to dump on you. What you can do is observe if one of your colleagues is having some difficulty right now with one of the projects, if they're having some difficulties with assignments, completing assignments, offer some assistance by making recommendations. Here's how you can do it. Make a recommendation to them to try something a specific way. And if they say, oh, I've never thought of that, say, listen, I can give you some help with that right now. So the goal is to make your company as strong as it possibly can become. The goal should be to not only complete your work, but to make sure everyone else is getting your work complete. You don't want to take time off because you want to finish out the quarter strong, but you also can take a look at the opportunity to get ahead of the curve. And this is one of the things I've told people over several decades, that whenever you have your work updated, the best thing you can do is to try to get ahead of the curve. So I was having a conversation with my wife maybe last week, the week before, and we were talking about how holidays are always a day that when everyone else is taking a break, we find it possible to get ahead of the curve. So I've always done this. When there's holidays, everyone else takes a day off. I'm looking at what I can get done that doesn't require me to be in a meeting with one of my bankers, in a meeting with one of my wealth managers, in a meeting with companies that are going to be closed. I'm looking for ways to work when everyone else is not working. Because first of all, they're not in the way. And second of all, I can get ahead of the curve. Now, there's always more work to be done. There's always something else that can be done. You just have to find methods to get the most out of what you're doing. And one of the things that I want to say is that for everyone who has been productive, and I to God be the glory, I feel that this year has been another productive year for me. But it's not over yet. So I've got to really make certain that I maximize the remainder of this year. And there's a lot on my calendar. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with one of my spiritual sons today, and he was saying to me, he said, can you do this? And are you available to do this in September? I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he said to me. And I said to him, I'm not going to be available to do that because I already know what my calendar looks like in the month of October, November, and December. And I've got a full calendar. I've got a few weddings to officiate. I've got numerous meetings scheduled for the next quarter. And in addition to that, there is some things that we're going to do to expand our platforms. So my calendar is completely booked for the next quarter. Completely booked. Now, in that, I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining. I'm saying we all should be doing that to finish out this year strong. It has been a great year, it's going to be a greater year. And I'm looking forward to it. I want you to look forward to it too. Don't take any time off. Just make certain that you use these 7 business remaining days of this quarter to see if you can get ahead in the for Q4. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, 3D, has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money.